I'm just going to quickly share a couple of, can you move forward there?
Sorry, yeah.
Thanks. No problem.
Responding.
So we're going to run through some ideas after I give you a brief overview of HCTF. Steph is going to share some ideas that other teachers have used for their boxes. We're going to listen to some teachers tell us about their real life stories, and then we'll have lots of time for discussion and questions. Next slide. So the Environmental Exchange Box program has been really successful the last few years, and it's based on these eco provinces of BC, and we try to trade or match up teachers that are in different eco provinces of British Columbia. So someone from the interior is trading with the coast, or et cetera, et cetera. You pop forward, thanks, Steph. Oh, you know, I think I'm starting to get old now because I cannot see this. But this is a really cute infographic, again, of those eco provinces. This is on the site. I'm going to share it in the chat afterwards, and it just gives you an example of some of the species that you can find in those eco regions. So I know what it shows, but I'm not going to read that out.
This is something that's really wonderful. You can share with your classes. It has descriptions of each of these areas as well. And so I'm coming from the Oaks and Orcas region, bioregion. Anyway, they're really fun and tell some of the unique things about your eco province.
Thanks, Steph. So if you're in the Exchange Box program already, you probably received this fabulous little box full of really fun resources. And so I'm sure you already know about that. Let's zip along. I want to get to the fun ideas for sure. If you haven't already applied, please do so. Let's just keep zipping. I think that the check-in with the partner class is the critical part. Maybe we wanted to focus on that again today, because you are accepted once you've got that first connection made. All right, let's.
I'll just speak to this really quickly. So once you do your exchange, the way you applied for this program was through your Survey Apply. And so everyone should have an account with Survey Apply if you're part of this program. And once you do an exchange, it's important to remember to go back to your Survey Apply account, because then you can put in a little bit of information that goes to the HCTF office and tell us how you send some photos, share on social media or with your facilitator or other ways, and we'll share with you some of those links, because then you get a free gift. And so some of the gifts that you can receive, this is just a sample. For each exchange that you do, you can choose a special resource that we send to you for free. And they're available in French and in English. So lots of different ID guides of different species and teacher resource books. Okay. So now I wanted to just share a little bit of this is going to be a little idea blitz. I'm going to go through this really quickly because I really want to have time for Janelle and Ellen, some teachers who are part of the program, to share with us some of their ideas. There are so many different things that you can do with this box, and I'm sure you all have lots of ideas. So I'm just going to focus on things. I thought it was kind of thematic about springtime and the types of activities we can do in spring. So what spring looks like around the province is very different. And so sharing that with your partner class, I think, would be very interesting. So even something as simple as going around in your schoolyard and looking for what plants are starting to make leaves or buds or flowers, and taking a closer look and taking photos or sketches, maybe gathering some small samples of leaves or flowers to press or identify and share in the box. If your students have adopted a tree or have a sit spot or somewhere where they go regularly, just to notice things that have changed since the last time they were there. Everyone should have also received this Nature's Palette. You can go on a color walk. A really fun activity also that's shared with from WildSite, our friends at WildSite, is something called Bud Buddies, where you notice a little bud and tie a piece of yarn around that bud, and then go back to it and document how it's changing over time through photos or in a nature journal. one thing I wanted to mention is all of these ideas we've put together in a document, and once I'm done screen sharing, I'll share that document with you. So, and we have links to some of the descriptions of these activities. So you can just sit back and relax for now. Another great idea of things to do in spring is to notice the weather. And I think because if you're paired with someone in a very different region, it's going to look quite different. And there's lots of wonderful do-it-yourself weather stations you can make, from measuring the wind speed, making a rain gauge, and then a cloud viewer. So learning about different types of clouds can also tell you a little bit about weather prediction, because they form under different conditions. And so you can make a little cloud viewer, learn about clouds, make a cloud viewer, maybe share some cloud viewers with your partner class, and make a weather journal and notice how the temperature, maybe even the temperature of the soil, and how it's changing day to day, week to week, and comparing. Spring is also so full of new sounds, from lawnmowers to bird song. I'm noticing so many birds singing in my neighborhood right now. There's a very simple activity called a sound map that you can do anywhere. And if students are at home, if they're isolating, this is something that they can do in their own outdoors from home as well. And it can be done in the schoolyard or in a nearby park. And what it is you consider yourself in the middle of your map, and then you listen for a minute or so, or a couple minutes, depending on the age. And for every sound that you hear, you can make a symbol from where it is. And you could compare different locations or different times of day. And for younger children that maybe aren't writing or drawing as much, even just sitting with your eyes closed and listening and counting how many different types of sounds you hear, I thought it would be also really amazing to record the sounds that you're hearing and share those recordings with your partner class. Gardening is something that a lot of students do, teachers do with their students in the springtime. So there's so much sharing around gardening that could be done. Maybe even a seed exchange with your partner class, making sure that you are using native or non-invasive plant seeds. So vegetable seeds, things like that would be fine, or native plants. Jenny did a great sharing in our Wild Wednesdays some things that she's done with her Wild School and her children, which is putting bean seeds in a Ziploc bag with a moist paper towel, and then you can just tape it up to a sunny window and you can see the seeds germinate and start to grow. So that's, I think, something really fun and interesting to learning about plant growth. We also have a resource on our website on how to make wildflower seed bombs. So you, again, don't use wildflower seed mixes that you purchase, because often those have invasive, unfortunately, seeds that can be invasive, but you can get some native plant seeds and make your own. And we have directions on how to do that. And then those could be planted maybe in the schoolyard or in a garden box. And then flowers, we all love flowers in the spring and seeing everything in bloom. And there's so many different ways you could share that with your students and document it. But then looking a little more closely, maybe with magnifiers or other ways. And so why do plants make flowers? And really, it's all about pollination and producing seeds. And so it's really cool to look closely at flowers, try to find the parts that make pollen, and maybe look for pollinators. There's some really great resources on for children on noticing flowers, life in the flower. You could go on a little life in the flower safari and look for butterflies, hummingbirds, different types of bees. There's hundreds of native bees in addition to honeybees. Maybe you might even want to support native bees by making a bee home and share some of that with your partner class, the materials, or just your observations. And birds are everywhere. It's another thing you can do easily from the schoolyard or from a nearby park. For young children, it's fun to make toilet paper roll binoculars, and it's a really useful focusing tool. It actually works for adults as well. So you block out everything around you and just focus in. Much easier to use for younger students than actual binoculars. I know that some teachers have done some some feeding of the birds, and there's some great resources that we have on different types of bird feeders that you can make. There's lots of ways to learn a little bit more about the birds in your region. We have some things for each region of BC and some of the birds you might find there, some of the common ones. So you can learn about what's found there and share it with your partner class. But also, no need to identify birds, just watch them and look at their behavior. We have a bird behavior bingo sheet that you could try and have your students share some of their learnings with your partner class. And just to complement that, this is something that I found on from a teacher that had shared from last year doing the exchange box French immersion class. So they did a little study of the birds that were found in a park nearby, and they had 18 different species. Each student learned about one species that was commonly found near their school, and they made a picture and wrote about the birds that were found there and shared it with their partner class. And then I just thought, you know, there's some things that are great all year round, and perhaps you might want to even put in the chat, you're welcome to add your own ideas of things that you would exchange. But, you know, what do you do when you don't have very much time and you're exhausted, you're doing report cards, you haven't done your exchange yet, you want to do something maybe complementing what you're already doing with your students. So, you know, doing maybe making some bookmarks about some plants that grow nearby, or art in nature, you know, just with found objects and taking photographs of it. You know, you could get a piece of string 1 meter long, just put it in the schoolyard. Imagine yourself shrunk down to the size of an ant, and what are the cool things that you're seeing. And or a nature calendar. These are so cool. You could just keep a calendar and write down every day something that somebody noticed outdoors in nature in the schoolyard, the first time something bloomed, or a sound that they heard before, or something that they noticed, and then share that calendar with your partner class. Just a few ideas, and we have many more that we'll share that are on the document that I'll give to you. I also just wanted to quickly note some environmental dates that are coming up, and it might be fun to do something around the theme, or an action project, or something to learn about connected to those dates. And coming up very soon is the Great Backyard Bird Count. So if you are interested in birds, we have the link to that. It just takes 15 minutes. That's all they ask for, a minimum of 15 minutes, and just noticing what you see. It could be done anywhere. It doesn't have to be in some far off, you know, place. It could be done just in the backyard. And a quick note, reminder about collecting guidelines, that we just really want to make sure that we all model respect and reverence for nature, that you only share small samples of something that is abundant and non-living. Don't send any insects that are alive to your partner class, or don't pick any you know, wildflowers that are not common, and you know, that type of thing. And also, collecting is not required. So pictures, reflections are all wonderful as well. Important thing is just to share with your partner class what your plans are. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for now. And yeah, so I meant to say right at the beginning, like, I just encourage you to, you know, use the chat and share. I'm sure lots of you have your own ideas of favorite things that you like to do with your students for the exchange box. We also have lots of sharing that has already been done on our Padlet, and we'll share the links with you about that, and on our social media. But in the meantime, I am so thankful to have Janelle and Ellen here with us today. They are kindergarten teachers, and this is their first year with the exchange box, and they've just been thriving and developing a really wonderful connection with each other, and sharing lots of learning with their students. So I would love to have you both share some of your experiences, and yeah, I'll let you take it over. Do you want to start, Janelle? I see you're unmuted.
Okay, sure, I can do that. It's just been, the exchange box has been a really, really fun activity for our class and for myself. And it's not been a lot of extra work. It's just piggybacking on what we're already doing in class. And we have found that connecting through text has been a really fun way of connecting and making those interactions immediate rather than waiting for a week later for the box to come or something like that, for it to be in the moment. For instance, we both of us ended up feeding the birds on Valentine's Day. Our class used cardboard and peanut butter and seeds, and Ellen's class used lard because she has peanut allergies in her class. And both of us made it in different ways. We sent pictures of one another doing it. And right in the moment, we weren't planning on it. It just happened. And we were able to exchange that back and forth. And I wanted to send this in our box that came. Ellen's class had done a book about the forest. And she had sent pictures that they had just been doing in class. And so she sent us a copy of pictures that the kids had painted using Sharpies and then watercolors. And our class then did something similar. And it was really fun for the kids to talk about what the forest was to them and looking at what Helen's class had done. And it would just fit right into the curriculum. It wasn't something that took a lot of preparing. It was just following along from our kindergarten friends in South Surrey and what they were doing. And it's been fun to just share that with the kids. Here's another kindergarten class, and this is what they're doing. And in this time of COVID and lots of meeting virtually, and it's been just really fun to have someone connect with personally as well. And sometimes when you get an exchange person in Secret Partners or whatever, it doesn't always work that way. But I just have been really thankful just for something authentic, and I just feel like I have a cheerleader who's encouraging me to just get outside and to learn. And this is new. Some of kindergarten's new for me, and taking kindergarten students outside has been new for me. Done it with other groups of kids, so it's been just fun to learn that journey together, and just to have someone cheering me on and telling me to keep going. So it's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you for sharing that, Janelle. Those are just beautiful drawings, and I love your stories. Ellen, are you able to unmute? Do you want to do you want to speak in sign language?
I'm the technically challenged one in the family here. Like Janelle said, it's just been an unexpected gift, really, this being able to be part of this exchange box opportunity. And I think that neither of us knew exactly what we were getting ourselves into when we first signed up. And even the first few conversations were like, holy cow, what are we supposed to do? And then what are we supposed to put in the box? And, and I think when we really just stepped back and, like Janelle said, just started to fill the box with things that we're doing. We both teach kindergarten. The kindergarten wonder of the 5-year-olds is something that we both share, in daily text with things that they wonder about. But I think when we would just take what we were doing and put that in the box fills up pretty quick. So having them do, like, my kids weekly will take Sharpies and sketchbooks and paint and water, and we travel to the forest, and that one day a week typically is what we'll do. And we thought, we'll just take color copies of these. It's a little bit hard for the kids to make another picture, but just take color copies of these and send them in a book for the kindergartens in Salmon Arm. But, and then what else are we doing in the forest? And so our first box to Janelle was mostly, she'd look at the pictures and say, what's in your wagon? And what is that? And what does that look like? And what to use that for? And I think the first box that was comfortable or easy for me to send, because there's so many things that you can send. There's so many opportunities and there's so many ideas. And I don't know, like if you're like me, but you have this spider web of ideas and you kind of think, oh, I've got just a small box. And you've made it so easy to have the labels and the box and the perlator, and, provided that the perlator sends the box, it's all good. And the roads aren't closed. And, there's a few hiccups that we had, but I think that the first box for me and for my kids was, what are we doing in the forest every day? And so we sent like the little the sticks and dice, and we play math games in the forest, and we sent other things that we just do in the forest every week. And I think that, like, I mean, I think I'm getting more out of this than my kids are in some ways. I mean, my kids are doing stuff every week, and we're doing stuff every day, and we're learning and enjoying outdoors things together. But I think that for me, it's that texting back and forth with Janelle and sharing ideas and sharing pictures and talking about what we're going to do next, or what we did, or sharing what happened or how it went or whatever. And I think that it's been this Pro D gift in a box, and it's this gift of sharing ideas. And, you know, there's no right or wrong way to do this. And I think that for Janelle and I, we hope that everybody would be part of this. I mean, my whole staff here, and I know Janelle's staff too, they all know about the box, and they all know about this connection that we have, and they all know about these great things that we're sharing back and forth. And I think that, you know, we get so used to just kind of like being our own little islands. And I think that this has created an opportunity for us to share what we're doing with our kids in the place that we live and work and play, and sending it to somebody that has a very different work and play area. And for Janelle, they've been snowshoeing, and they've been like deep in snow, and we're out in the forest, you know, with the sun shining and or the rain pouring down or whatever. And so, you know, I think that, I guess, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just hope that people know that it's not meant to be, you're not being judged, you're not being marked on it, you're not being whatever. I think it's just share what you're doing with your kids, stick it in the box and send it. Because once you've got that first box out, you're going to go, oh, for the next box, we could do this. And then we could get, and then you get your box from your partner. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is such amazing ideas. And we had to build a snowman with all these loose parts and things like that, which the kids love doing. And I just think sharing ideas and collaborating with somebody that, I mean, you know, this gift of an opportunity has created a friendship too. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I can unmute now. I'm talking a lot. So.
Well, it's been fun too, Ellen, when you've gone to your bookshelf and you've found books that you have, and you had 2 copies, and that we've been able to do that. So I had 2 copies of this book.
Yes.
And so then I sent one to Ellen, and Ellen had 2 copies of this book. So then she sends one to me. So it's just sharing resources, and we'll text, you have this book? Oh, good. Because I'm sending that one. I'm going to send it in the next box. So it's not necessarily having to go out and buy stuff, but we just sometimes have duplicates of things as teachers. And it's just fun to share someone who enjoys it. And sometimes I'll be planning an activity, and Ellen will show what they're doing. And I'm like, oh, that's better what you're doing than what I'm doing. So then I quickly change things so that I can steal some of her ideas too, so that it's just, I think for the kids, it's making their experiences bigger and extending their learning and extending my learning at the same time. So, and that's just win-win. It's just this gift of friendship and time. And for the kids too, they know that there's other kids in the world that are in BC that are going outside and learning along with us. And so it's fun.
Yep.
That's great. Thank you. I was wondering if maybe we could open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions for Ellen or Janelle, or for Jenny and I. I could ask some questions, but I could open it up to the floor. If you have any questions, you can unmute or put it in the chat.
I'll just jump in. We're also sharing things on Twitter and trying to tag you guys in them, and having like a class Instagram where there's ideas and things like that. So, I mean, Janelle and I are quite willing to share and try and encourage other people just to get outside and to just do stuff, and don't worry about if it's right or wrong. Just learn with the kids, and there's lots of opportunity. And the kids, just when you take their interest or their learning, I mean, we found our first roly-poly today, and we haven't seen them since the fall. the pill bugs, and the kids were so excited, and they were counting the little legs, and they were, like, they're so excited because when they find more and it gets warmer, they're going to have these roly-poly races, and like, they're just so curious about all these little things. So I think it's just trying to find what they're interested in, and then just spin it into, they don't even know that they're learning something.
That's great, thank you. And there was a question about an intermediate class, which I'll address in a minute, but I want to give Diane a chance to talk. If you want to unmute, Diane.
I'll see if my, can you hear me? Because I had a hard time earlier. Okay, so from an intermediate class, we are taking care of the Salmonids program in the school. So we will be doing a stream survey to see if the stream behind our behind our school is ready to receive our salmon, our 100 chum eggs. And we're going to be sharing that with the school that's in Vancouver Island. But I'm also looking at rocks and minerals with my class, and potentially doing sharing with them what kind of collections we're getting. So that could be pictures that I'm sending. Space in grade 6. So perhaps looking at constellations that they might see from their perspective versus what we see from ours. So we're just, again, tapping into what we're doing in our classroom and forwarding in that. Thanks.
That's awesome, Diane. Thank you. You could put your hand down if you know how to do that. Yeah, great. Any other thoughts on intermediate classes? Or other questions? Any challenges that people want to talk about? I do have some slides about logistics and how we can about the process. And another thing I wanted to mention is, especially if you're thinking about, if you're struggling with ideas, especially for the older grades, don't forget that you have a Wild BC facilitator that is assigned to you and is there to help support you in whatever ways you may need. So that could be with ideas, it could be finding particular resources. If they live very nearby, they might be able to join your class on an outing. So if you're not sure who your Wild BC facilitator is, we can help you find that out, and we can give you their contact information. But don't hesitate to get in touch with us. That's what we're here for.
And I'm just conscious of time. We've got 5 minutes here, and we are totally happy to stay on afterwards, but we'll be respectful of the 4 p.m. for people that need to get going. So I think maybe what we'll do now, if it's okay with you, Steph, is I'll share just a little word cloud that I wanted to put together with some ideas that have either come up today or have come to you, or you've got kind of in your toolkit there, and you can just throw as many words as you want into this word cloud. And then we can share that out with everyone afterwards. So I'm going to pop the website. Hopefully you can see that there is menti, menti.com. And and I'll just put that in the chat, but as soon as you get there, it'll ask for that code that's at the top, and I'll put that into the chat as well. The code is 43967521. There we go. That's in the chat. And then you are able to enter as many words as you want, and you'll see it start to populate here. So it doesn't have to be for your exchange box. It can be an idea that you've got. It can be something that you've heard for the first time today. It can be something you're working on in your class. I mean, Diane's ideas of constellations is a great one, or anything you want, feel free to pop in there. Hopefully we'll start to see a few of them popping up in a moment here. So following the webinar, while this is populating, we will send out a little package with some of these resources that we've talked about. We'll include the word cloud, information with links on the survey apply to get your gift once you've done the exchange box, and a link to apply for any of your colleagues.
Another reminder, I'll just put it in the chat as well is on our website and the exchange box area, there's all the forms that you could ever need. So I'll put that link in if you're not sure. This is great to see some of these coming up.
Oh, wow, look at
Now
that.
they're all coming in. Nice.
Love it. Okay, well, we'll let this keep going. Feel free to enter as many as you want, but I'll stop sharing and then we'll take a screenshot of this once it's all done. So you've got that. All right. And just a quick note, I think that this was talked about, but whatever you exchange, just like Janelle and Ellen shared, doesn't have to be in a box. You could send photos via email. You can have a Zoom meeting with your classes. There's lots of digital ways to share too. So I just wanted to comment on that.
Okay, do we have a minute so I can do a couple more slides to wrap up?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, great. So here's some pictures of Janelle and Ellen's exchange from our Padlet site. If you want to, oh, and something that they also shared on this, a poster with some of the identification of what they found there, great for early readers. And our Padlet site, Jenny, if you could just put the Padlet link in the chat. This is a great, this is where you can share. It's also a great place for ideas. You can mine the Padlet site. And also another way to share, once you share your, take some pictures of what you're doing and share it on the Padlet or through our social media and tag Environmental Exchange Box. And then you could go back to your Smart Apply and you can get some of those awesome gifts. If you need photo release for any photos of your students, we also have a photo release form on our website. And when in doubt, if you're not sure about what's going on, just get in touch with the Wild BC office or your facilitator for any assistance you might need. If you find you're not getting emails from us, you're going to need to make sure we're on your safe list. Oh, and there we go. Happy exchanging. I think that's all. There we go.
Great. Oh, I popped in all the links to that. And so the Padlet link is there. And the last one, but not least, is our newsletter. So if you're not already on the e-news, please sign up. All right.
Yeah, so we can stay longer for any questions or more discussion. But if you have to leave, we totally understand. And so glad you were able to join us.
Yeah, thank you all for being here today. And a special thanks to Ellen and Janelle. I'll stop the recording now.